What's up, everybody? It's Pastor G. It's my desire always to say something to inspire or to drop a little knowledge that would allow us to live at the advantage of God or live God's advantage. And right now, more than ever before, we need the favor of God. We need God in our life. And I'm sure that you agree that you need Him as much as I need Him. But I'm here to tell you, don't lose focus right now. Don't lose focus. There is a reason why you are here. There's a reason why you were created, and it's to do great things and to deliver people, especially your family. So don't you lose focus amidst of all the chaos in the world today. See, we are there is a master deceiver, a master deceiver. And I want you to understand that your fight right now, you are not wrestling against flesh and blood, but you are wrestling against something more powerful. This is a spiritual battle. Now, this is just not religious dialogue or religious talk. This is the truth. You are in a fight that wants you to lose your focus. He presents an opportunity, a great opportunity, a justifiable opportunity for you to lose focus. Because if you lose focus, he know that you will not see what God has created, or you won't live at the advantage of God. Now, one of his main tools is to bring strife. Strife is just there's an unresolved issue. But if you're not careful, strife turns into unforgiveness, hatred. And that's his ultimate goal, because he knows that the moment that you get to the place of unforgiveness, you are living unlike God. It's the time that you are most out of character when it comes to your God self. Are you listening to me? And so, because in my personal life, I know two things about God. God is love, and he forgives. He loved me in spite of it, and he forgives me every time. So if I want to be unlike God, the moment that I get into unforgiveness, I have lost my God self. That's very powerful, because unforgiveness is the sabotager of all dreams. He don't tell you that. He tells you it's justifiable right now that you feel the way that you do about them. It's justifiable that you feel and you want to do what you want to do. He gets you all emotional. But our emotions have no intellect. And now I want to really personally challenge my brothers that are believers. I have to always make sure that whatever I say out of my mouth, and however when I act, is a God act, because I am the representation of God in the earth. Now I know some saying, yeah, but this time, but we still, no matter what happens, I have an obligation to represent God to the highest level. Now there's this word called but. And I'm going to show you something here. In a sentence, whatever comes after the word but takes precedence over what is said before. For example, if I say that the wages of sin is death, then I say, but the gift of God is eternal life. I'm saying the gift that God gives is much greater than the wages of sin. Are you following me here? This is why I cannot get online or social media and say, I believe God, I hear what you're saying, I understand that, but this time we've got it. I've just negated what God has ordained, or he has sanctioned. I can never lose that. I've always got to be what God has called me to be. In Matthew 15 chapter, and again, this is a challenge to my brothers, the believers, if you will. Matthew 15 chapter 8 verse, he says that Sunday morning, watch this, these people worship me with their mouth and their lips, but their heart, notice, but their heart is far from me. I see them saying things in church, but when the moment comes for them to live the life, they refuse the opportunity. And that's what we don't want to do, because we were created. Now Second Chronicles says this very clear. Now here is the solution for those of us that still believe God. And I choose to believe God. It says that if my people that are called by my name humble themselves, turn from their wicked ways, then will I hear from heaven. I will absolutely heal the land. Now, for those of you that still believe God, he just gave you the solution. So don't say but I must do it. Now, Pastor G is saying that we must act but we must act up on righteousness. I've got to know righteousness first. I've got to know what the righteousness of God is before I say and before I act, because I am the representation of God in the earth, and I got to live that kind of life. Now, in the book of Genesis, the 37th chapter, this is a story of a young man that throughout all the calamities of his life, he never lost focus, because in life there are many things that come against me, and some of the things that I encounter or experience is justifiably I could say that one I got a right to do some serious things right now. But this is a story about a boy by the name of Joseph, who had a dream, and in his dream he knew that one day he would rule. And through his experience, first of all, his brothers threw him in a pit because they were jealous. Then he was sold into slavery. He ended in Potiphar's house. Then Potiphar's wife say that he tried to come on to her. And then he ended up in prison. And when all other prisoners were depressed and they were down because they in jail and they don't see no hope, he comes in happy and say what the problem is. Because he never lost focus of what the big picture was for his life. Ultimately, I'm going to deliver my people. So if I'm going to be a deliverer, I cannot let the calamities of life throw me off focus. See, focus creates blindness both ways. If you focus on calamity, you lose the big picture. But if you focus on the big picture, the calamities of life won't even matter. And that's the situation that we're in right now. It's time for us to get focused. We're not wrestling against flesh and blood. Even though my dilemma will always be presented with two arms and a leg, but it's much bigger. And the prize that I'm trying to get is much larger. So let's be very careful. Now, some might say this, that you're so heavenly minded that you're no earthly good. But when Jesus talks in John 3 to Nicodemus, he says, you must be born again to see kingdom things, meaning you must be born from above, which actually states this, that if you're not heavenly minded, then you are no earthly good. If you can't set your affections on things above, everything that happens in your life will throw you off. But not this time. We are staying focused because you're 10,000 times greater on the inside than you are on the outside. There's nothing on the outside that can bring you down. So keep your head up. We will get through this. We will get through this. We will be victorious. You are already victorious. You got to speak it out of your mouth. Don't let the master deceiver deceive you into losing because of his deception. Love like God loves. Live like God loves. And we will be victorious. Pastor Jesus out. I love you.